Should there be a second chance at a plea deal for this dad? You might remember he was the Arizona father charged with first-degree murder for leaving his 2-year-old daughter, Parker, in a hot car.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're going to have to stand by with you for a while. All right.
Is there a reason why?
So any death, we have to treat like a crime scene. I know this is extremely difficult for you. This is a normal process that we have to follow through with. I don't want you to be blindsided by anything, but that's what's going to be going on for right now, okay?
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my...
Not at all. I know that.
Now, he already rejected one plea offer to second-degree murder. He wants to try for a new deal, though, with the state. His defense attorney says he's developing some new evidence that would substantiate the argument for a reduced punishment for him. September 19th, they'll be back in court, and we'll see if they're able to arrive at an agreement to dispose of this case without a trial. Let me bring in now our legal analyst guest to talk about what might be an appropriate deal for Christopher Sholtes. Attorney Jessica Mishali is with us, practices criminal defense in the state of Florida. We saw her in action in one of the trials that we broadcasted here on Court TV. Jessica, great to have you back on the show. And tell me, as you're watching this hearing and thinking like the criminal defense attorney that you are, what do you think would be a fair and appropriate ask for your client if you were representing Christopher Sholtes?
You know, it's a tough case, Julie. You know that I have young kids, and even just watching today is difficult. It's hard to listen to, it's hard to hear. I had a case like this about 10 years ago, a hot car, a death of a child, and it was very, very, very difficult. I think it's clear this father did not mean to hurt his child, but the evidence shows that he knew what he was doing. I mean, you live in Arizona. You know what the temperatures are. He had been told not to leave her in the car before. This is just a horrifying, horrifying thing that happened. I think an appropriate sentence for him would be 10 years in prison. I'm sure that he thinks he should not have any incarceration.
Mm-hmm. You think that's where they're stuck, huh? On the fact that the state probably thinks time is appropriate for him. And I'm with you, Jessica. I think he's got to do some time, has to do some time. Perhaps something lesser than life. I can understand where his defense, he was going, whoa, we want to get off this first-degree murder charge, get away from that potential penalty and get in the vicinity of something more like second degree where it's 10 to 25. Tell me, do you think they're going to be able to arrive at something based on what you heard today? Do you think that there can be some kind of a meeting in the middle here?
I think there definitely can, because any case can be settled where the people are working together. I always think that cases where I don't have an offer to settle from the state is just kind of a crazy situation. There should always be some kind of settlement. I think that this guy probably thinks that he shouldn't have any repercussions whatsoever. And he's going to have to come off of that a little bit if he doesn't want to risk going to a jury. And honestly, I don't think I would risk that in this case.
Mm-hmm. Right, too risky. Yeah, I mean, you see that beautiful face. Oh my gosh, that little Parker, what a gorgeous child. Had her whole life ahead of her, like her mother said in those messages we saw earlier from the reporting done by our Scripps News affiliate in Arizona, how the mother said she was perfect and now we've lost her. She was a perfect child. And Dad knew that this was a problem with him. He knew that this had happened before. He was warned, don't do this, but distracted, whatever he was doing, playing video games. And now this little angel is dead. So you're right, Jessica, going in front of a jury, I can't think a lot of people would have sympathy for him. Tell me, if you're the prosecution, do me a favor for just this moment, be a prosecutor for me, my friend. Tell me, what do you think would be a fair offer to extend to this guy, knowing that, look, he suffered a loss that, I mean, is an irreplaceable loss. His own child, through his conduct, we're acknowledging, and I think the defense is acknowledging they want to work this out. What do you think would be a fair offer to extend to the defense?
So, Julie, like you said, you're spot on. The natural consequence of his actions is worse than any punishment he could ever receive. The fact that he no longer has his child and that he knows that that's his fault. The fact that he was playing video games and not like in some other cases we've seen like this where the person is seriously overwhelmed and there are other things that are important that are going on and that's why they forgot. This is sort of, he intentionally left her there. He knows what the degrees are outside. He knows the car's going to turn off. He's in the house playing video games. It's really inexcusable. And so I think that while in some cases it's more understandable. In the case I had, there was in fact no prison time in the sentence. But here, I don't think that that would be appropriate, and I don't think he's going to get that offer from the state. I do think that this was accidental and that he is suffering and that he is not really a danger to anybody else. And I think that the state should offer, I think that second degree would be appropriate as the highest charge, maybe even a lower charge than that. And I think that they should offer something between 10 and 15.
Jessica, I'm in agreement with you. I think that would be very, very fair. Agree on a firm term of imprisonment, put him on an extended period of probation after that, keep him monitored, keep him accountable. I think a guy like this needs some parenting classes and some things, that could help him when he goes to, to finish his term and get back into his home life. But I'm with you. I can see why they're a bit stuck because this is such a bad loss. Where do you go from there? How can you make him suffer more? I don't think you possibly can. Jessica, really appreciate your insight. Again, September 19th, Christopher Sholtes will be back in court, and we'll see if we have a deal. We're remembering precious little Parker, the victim in this case.